Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post, a show where we cover trends in fashion, entertainment, current event, and everything in between. My next guest is an actual icon and living legend, SAG Award winner, Golden Globe winner, Academy Award winning actress, and comedian who's had one of the longest and varied careers in the industry. She's contributed to stand up, TV, movies, and of course, the culture. Her first ever upcoming Netflix special is called My Name is Monique. And she making her grand return to my favorite television show, BMF. It is my honor to welcome the groundbreaking, the trailblazing, the iconic Monique to the Renaissance Man podcast.
All I can say is wow. I'm like, who he talking about? Oh my goodness, Jalen, thank you so much, baby. I have to say, I think that is one of the most appreciated introductions that I've ever gotten. Thank you, brother.
Yes, ma'am, and well deserved. And before we dive into your new projects, because you have so many and well deserved, I just want to say congratulations on this new chapter of your career. The way you've continued to be able to reinvent yourself with class, it is all well deserved. But before you came to Monique you are today, you were just a little girl growing up in Baltimore. Give me a snapshot of what your childhood was like there.
You know, I had a really good girlfriend named Cherie Smith, right? So I can just give you a snapshot of my childhood to sum it up. And I would go over to her house when we were little girls, and I would sit at the kitchen table, and me and her would be talking. And her mother came in the kitchen and said to me, when you grow up, either you're going to get your ass whooped a lot, or you're going to make a lot of money with your mouth. So if that sums it up, I think that what you see of me, Jalen, is what you get. You know, of course, you grow and you evolve, but the spirit and the personality, who I am right now at 55 years old, I believe I was that at 5 years old.
Which comedians or actors did you admire growing up?
Of course, Richard Pryor, LaWanda Page, Flip Wilson, you know, Isabel Sanford, George Jefferson, you know, and one of my favorites, who I think was a lot of our dads, even though I had a dad, was John Amos from Good Times.
No doubt.
Like, it was something about that man, baby, when I tell you, he had everything that a Black man was supposed to have to raise a family. So it was those 70s legends that made me say, thank you for them ones that took the time out to really make sure they left us with something.
And those shows, for me, were an iconic snapshot of television to me that embodied different layers of the Black family that we just don't see anymore. Great writing, great acting, great production. And so what were you garnering as you got a chance to digest some of those great shows? Like Richard Pryor comedy album was classic. I remember listening to that as on a component set with a 33 when I was growing up. You see what I'm saying? That's classic, youngsters. Y'all know nothing about that. And when she talking about Good Times and Sanford and Son and the Jeffersons, like, how did that inspire you?
Okay, so remember on the Jeffersons, Weezy always had on these beautiful caftans, right? And as a little girl, I was like, wow, when I grow up and I become a wife, I want to wear those, because she wore them just coming out the bedroom. It was just like, this is what it is.
No doubt.
So as this little girl, I couldn't wait, Jalen, to grow up to become this woman that when I came out the bedroom, I came out in my pretty gowns and my pretty things. So you know, it's so much to say what inspired me. I appreciated Florida Evans. And it's funny that we call them by their TV names,
No
right?
question.
But I appreciated her because she knew how to be a Black man's wife.
Mm-hmm.
She knew how to stand her ground, but she knew when to back down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she knew that she could talk to her children, but she knew James had the final word.
Mm-hmm.
It was things like that for me as a child watching. It's like, okay, so this is what it's supposed to be. I believed it. I trusted it. Though my parents were together all of my childhood life, all of my adult life, but I believed her
Mm-hmm.
and what she did. So those are the things for me that I still hold on to right now.
When was the moment that you realized that you were making a career in entertainment?
I was born December 11th, 1967 at 10:38 a.m. That is the moment, Jalen, that I said, here I am, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Confident from the beginning that you was going to make something out of yourself.
You know, and I'll say this to you too. You know how you have people that are gifted and people that are talented.
Mm.
And when you're given a gift, it guides you to that place. Like you have, there's nothing you can do to stop it except for stop it.
Mm.
But there was nothing you could do to get in Jalen Rose's way except for you to get in your way because it was a gift.
Correct.
You know, so I think that we come with it and we get, the universe guides us right along that journey until we get to where we're supposed to expose the gift.
Can you acknowledge, because so many people want to be athletes, so many people want to be actors, so many people want to be into entertainment, but they don't understand the sacrifices and the time, that the energy that it takes to pour into your career. What is one of the biggest sacrifices you think that you needed to make or change in order to put yourself in position to chase your dreams?
I think one of the sacrifices I made, Jalen, that I still deal with today is with my oldest son.
Mm.
And it was that relationship because I wanted fame so much. And I wanted to be able to give my son, quote unquote, everything I thought my parents didn't give me. So if that meant that I can't come to your school, if that meant that I can't be there, if that meant that I can't read you a bedtime story, well, I'm trying to make it better.
Yep.
Not understanding that the nurturing was missing.
Mm.
You know, and I don't think that I'm unique in that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're trying to get it so much and so bad that if you got 75 games on the road, what you gonna tell your babies?
Correct.
Because you see the house y'all live in, you see the school you go to. So you have to say to yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, that's the biggest thing that, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I would have been far more nurturing. I wouldn't have stayed so long at the meeting. I wouldn't have stayed so long at the party. So I think for me, that was the biggest sacrifice.
Thank you for your candor. And to be honest with you, it reminds me of a conversation that I recently had with my oldest daughter, who's now 22. Her name is Mariah, and she's doing an amazing job. She just graduated from Georgia. She now works with the Atlanta Hawks. And she was talking to me about the times when I was on the road, the times when I wasn't there, when she needed me the most, when at a time when she was in high school. And so for you to say that, I appreciate that. And I hope that you guys continue to nurture that relationship and continue to spend that quality time. But also, I want to acknowledge there's so many things that you've done that I could just recall, like being a part of classics, like the Parkers. That was a classic. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about that experience being a part of that show. I believe for 5 years.
That was my first introduction into a place called Hollywood, Jalen. That was one of the greatest and one of the most challenging experiences of my life.
Mm.
The greatest was being introduced to this woman named Nikki Parker.
Mm.
And Nikki Parker was fearless.
Mm-hmm.
So Nikki Parker grew Monique up.
Mm.
I don't know if Monique would have done some of the things that Nikki Parker did, but because Nikki Parker did it, Monique now cannot do it because she was just that woman. And then to meet this young lady, Countess Vaughn, who played my daughter, and 25, 28 years later, we still have that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The challenging part is to see your image on television every day, all over the world, and hope that you are treated fairly when it comes to syndication. I'll say that.
Yes.
You know, so I am grateful for that opportunity, because I can remember Jalen dropping my grandbaby off at school, right? Mm-hmm. And there were 3 people in this car. There was a little boy, there was his mama, and there was her mama. Mm-hmm. And all 3 of those people knew me differently. I was so honored because everybody called me something. It was like, that's Nikki Parker. That's Monique. That's the lady from the Rugrats. I was all these different people. I was like, you know, so just, you know, the Parker's baby was when my grandson, I give you a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So we're sitting there watching TV one day and I turn on the Parkers. And he looks and he says, "Oh, Nikki, that's you." And I say, "Yes." So in his little 2-year-old mind, he's like, "Okay, but you're right here."
Correct.
So then he looked for a minute and he said, "Well, where am I? Because if you're in there, I've got to be in there with you, baby." So it's, you know, that show will be around when I'm long gone. And there will be somebody in my family that will say, "That's my great, great, great grandma."
Yeah. And you deserve that. And over the years, that's what a classic character or performer becomes in a lot of ways. In sports, I consider those like championship rings. So when somebody call you Nikki Parker, that's because you was on a classic and that was a championship. And so when you got in a vehicle and 3 different people calling you 3 different names, that now has become the legendary staying power that you've continued to have. Fat Girls, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, and obviously Precious, where you won an Academy Award. Talk to me about that experience of being a part of Precious and how gratifying it was for you to win the Academy Award.
So, you know, Lee Daniels is crazy, right? Lee yes. Daniels got a different kind of mind, baby. Just you be like, "What, Lee?" When he sent me the script, right? No, the book. Actually sent me the book first. By the time I got to page 10, I called him up and said, "What the hell is this?" He said, "I know, right?" He said, "Oh, girl." And we are just talking about this book. And he says, "You know what? If we do this right, we'll get an award." And I said, "Lee, for me, the award will be if it can save somebody's life." That's what the award will be. And then once we got the script, my husband and I were looking at the script and he said, "Mama," he said, "just so you know, people win awards for doing scripts like this." And I remember when Lee wanted me to go to an acting coach, right? And when I went to this woman, she's world-renowned, I highly respected, and I respect that, but I just don't operate in that way.
Right.
So my husband says to me, he says, "Mama, when he says action, just become her, don't judge her. Just be her." That was the best acting advice. He said, "Just be her." So when he told me to be a monster, okay, Jalen, this is the part, right? I'm so not an actress. Please hear me. I am a little girl playing. So he says, I need you to be a monster. And I mean, I need people to hate your ass. I said, well, say action.
Wow.
So it was, how far can we take your mind? How far can we pull you in? And when he would say cut, we would have such a beautiful time because both of us was like, I can't believe you licked your tongue out. I said, you told me to lick my damn tongue out. So it was that. It was, but the beautiful part of it is, it was all so beautiful. It allowed me to stop having a resentment towards my brother. It allowed me to understand that sickness, not excuse it, but understand it. It allowed me to be able to have a real conversation with my brother, you know. So, and I can remember being in Utah and we were at the Sundance, right? And an Asian brother came up to me after one of the screenings and he said, Monique, I'm Mary Jones. I did that to my family. And I was with my husband. It's like, that's the reward right there. Not them calling my name up on stage for a trophy. That's the reward for that man to say, I am that person and I need to make this right with my family. Wow. So that's what Precious was for me. And then to see this beautiful, gorgeous, chocolate, thick, beautiful sister named Gabourey Sitter, babe. I was like, oh, girl. To sit across from Mariah Carey and watch that baby go into that character where nobody expected her to do that. All of those experiences in that moment were beautiful. And the little girl, Jalen, okay, this baby had Down syndrome. So you can't, there's no direction that he could give to this baby. Wow. But she knew how to hit every cue with no direction whatsoever. So that movie was something special. It was something that universally, it had grabbed a hold of it.
And it was special for me to see you and director Lee Daniels mend your differences after your 13-year feud. And that's the beautiful thing as we continue to get older, to be able to have those opportunities for reconciliation and find a place of peace. What was it like for you during that 13-year period? Because a lot of what you were doing became game changing in a lot of ways, not only for Black people, but also for women in the industry as it related to their respect and their equal pay. So what was it like for you during that 13-year period? But then how gratifying was it for you guys to be able to find peace?
You know, during that 13-year period, personally, it bonded me and my family together in a way, baby, that was unimaginable. Because when it first happened, I remember my husband taking me by the hands and said, Mama, we're going to be good. And I believed him. I trusted what he said. And there were times, Jalen, that our backs were up against the wall financially, because when you get hit like that, you go from one salary to stuff just stop. And when I tell you, this beautiful Black man, baby, carried his family in a way that it never hit, like it never took us to this place of, we would get out back and barbecue, the kids would be in the pool, okay? We would enjoy the earth that the Lord has given us, and we kept it moving. So, and then he said to me, the only way it goes away is if you stop talking about it. Don't stop talking about it. So through that whole time, there were people saying, just let it go. Just be quiet. Oh, girl, let go and let God. All the things they tell us to do when we are speaking out loud. Correct. And I remember when Lee Daniels and I were taking a walk when we were doing the film, The Deliverance. And he said to me, why didn't you just be quiet? And I said, had I been quiet, you and I wouldn't be taking this walk down the river right now. Correct. And I know your heart, brother. See, you sipped the Kool-Aid, it got you, you thought you wanted to be with the beautiful people, but you found out once you get there, like most people do, I don't have no real friends. I
Correct.
don't, so for he and I to reconcile, for he to take accountability and walk out on that stage in Staten Island and say, I want to apologize for anything I've done to you and your family. I don't know if it's ever been done in history. I'm not saying it has not. I've never seen a director that's an A-list director own his stuff.
Right.
So that was absolutely incredible. So Oprah and Tyler, we waiting.
We waiting 3 dots.
That's
Y'all on the clock. Y'all on the clock. How about this? Can you name your top 5 comedians turned actors?
Jalen Rose, you play too much. Okay, here we go. Red Fox, Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Monique. And should I have put myself in that?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, absolutely. It's well deserved. I didn't even get to The View and what you're doing right now for Netflix. And make sure y'all check out Monique's Netflix special. My name is Monique. And you said, because when people walk away from this special, they would truly understand who you are. Yes. Tell me why it's important for you to share this with your audience at this point of your career.
When you are a Black woman in this industry and you put your hand up and say, what you're doing ain't right, you get labeled, you get called angry, you get called bitter, you get called delusional, you get called so many things. You get called aggressive, you get called a bully, you get called all of these things. Well, when my husband and I wrote the comedy special, I wanted to make sure people understood why I swing like I swing. No doubt. I want to make sure people understand that as long as you breathe, bleed, and die like I do, you have no more power than I have. Exactly. I want people to understand that the journey that got me to a place that I'm free. That's what this comedy special is. You'll understand why I do not back down. You'll understand why I thought things I would take to my grave that I said in this comedy special. Things I thought was my own. Wow. Like nobody will ever know this, that I was able to say out loud because I got a beautiful Black man, baby, that said to me, yes, I got you through it all. Yes. Yes. This comedy special is.
And that's glorious. And you deserve it. And your voice and your strength provides courage to not only people that look like you, but for those that hope to follow in your footsteps, because you didn't take the elevator, you took the stairs. And it's gratifying for me to see you be happy, yet still be your unapologetic self. That's so very refreshing. And I also have to ask you about your role in BMF.
Yes, baby, Goldie.
Your highly anticipated debut as the strip club owner, Goldie. What convinced you to take this role on my favorite TV show?
There was no convincing to be done. I had a conversation with a beautiful brother named Curtis. He said, Mo, what you think about this? We said, we love it. He said, call Randy. And that said, let's go. And that was it. Now here comes Goldie.
Yes.
Oh, I love her, Jalen. I love Goldie. Oh, I love Goldie. This is what I tell people about Goldie. He's the government's villain, but the community's hero. When Goldie showed up,
villain, but the community's hero.
That was my Aunt Vera, baby. My Aunt Vera took care of that community and anything you thought you needed. I want you to hear me, Jalen Rose, okay? Anything you thought you needed, my Aunt Vera could provide it for you. And people loved her. She was that woman in the neighborhood, baby, that any problem she thought she was having, you knock on Miss Vera's door. And Miss Vera took care of it for you. Now, the way she took care of it, you don't question that. You just know it got taken care of.
Absolutely.
That's who Goldie is.
Ooh, Can't wait. Can't wait. Yes.
Yeah.
Goldie. And again, you're an A-lister as a human being. I'm a huge fan of yours. I love and appreciate you dearly. And I'm so very gracious you took the time to join me. But before I let you get out of here, I have a rapid fire segment called
Come on.
Gone in 60 Seconds. You ready to do this?
I'm ready to do this, Jalen.
Okay, we talked about the Parkers and how you rose to fame. So it's only right. Can you name me a couple of your top mother-daughter duos in TV?
Oh, okay. Claire and Denise. Uh, 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 oh, Jalen, shut your mouth, man. Down now, damn it. Okay. Oh, goodness, Jalen, that's a good one. Mother-daughter duos. Golden Girls, the Golden Girls. Her, okay. Mother-daughter duos. You ain't gonna play with me, Florida Evans and Thelma. You
No
gonna
doubt.
come on now? You trying to okay? What mother-daughter duos? Okay, I need four. What is that? 4? I need one more. Mother-daughter duos. Mother-daughter duos. Mother-daughter duos. Mother-daughter duos. Jalen. Oh, shut up. Family Matters. That's right.
There we go.
That's right. Ding, ding, ding. Baby.
There we go. Absolutely. Who's your pick, film or person, to win an Academy Award this year?
Oh, who is my pick, film or person, to win an Academy Award this year? Jalen, listen, I'm going to have to say I got to pass on that one because I have a 5-year-old grandson. And if it ain't on YouTube Kids, baby, I don't know who will. If they have not performed on YouTube Kids, I can't tell you who's going to win it this year.
No doubt. And that means you stay working. That means you stay busy also. And as a matter of fact, I see you on IG showing off your dance workouts. What song would you say is your favorite to do your dance offs and why?
Teresa Griffin, and it's a song called Mr. Wonderful. And she's singing that song about this amazing man and how this man has just saved her life and what a king he is. So when I'm dancing to that, I'm thinking about growing old with my husband and meeting my great grandbabies. And, so it takes me there.
Love it. And you deserve it. And lastly, but certainly not least, as I mentioned, your Netflix special is coming out soon. Make sure y'all check that out. Make it #1. What are you most excited for audience to take away from that special?
This is unfair for rapid fire, Jalen, because I be having so much shit to say. Okay, what do I want them to take away? Listen. #1, I'm so proud that my husband and I did it together. I'm so proud that we wrote this special together. We exec produced this special together. And I want people to take away to be unapologetically yourself. And at the same time, laugh as hard as you can, think as hard as you can. You might have to cry as hard as you can. But I am most proud that we were no longer here and our babies watch that. They're going to see their great-grandmama and their great-granddaddy.
Yes.
Called Hicks Media presents My Name is Monique.
My name is Monique. Make sure y'all check it out. You're an icon. I'm grateful that you took the time. Thank you very much for joining the show.
Thank you, Brother Jalen.